issues, then we're obviously putting thought into it.
My other question is, how do you know Canadian?
You don't care about politics and suddenly start to care. Considering about 75% of Canadians believe in private institutions, 24%.
You said that so wrong. I got that.
I can agree with that just because not everyone
This making me get what's happening?
and if people are still going to be casting a vote, they're still technically giving it
Okay,
because they're still going there and they're still
Oh my god, yeah, what's going on? What the frick was that? Oh my god.
some people who still care about politics.
That's fine. Okay, prepare. Oh no,
And they're still going there fine. And they're still giving their opinion. Because they're still saying,
let's
I
go.
don't care who it is, but they...
Oh crap, this mattress so close. Yeah, they're done.
Any other points
Oh
to
shit.
make?
They're lucky.
Right, and that concludes the formal debate. So which of you lovelies believe that there should be mandatory voting in Canada? Should there be mandatory voting in Canada? Throw your hands up if you agree.
Wait, whose point was that?
What's that? I think you all should vote. I think it's mandatory that you all vote for this. Who thinks we should continue to have choice voting?
People in Australia aren't voting because
What's the topic about?
Voting.
I want to see it vote.
Questions from the audience. Jasmine.
You see his epic push?
How do you suggest that people
Ooh.
become more educated? Well, educated on anything, we want So,
Oh my god.
essentially when elections are going on, or that when it's coming up, then I guess you can watch
Oh my god, the fucking witch stuff refers me.
that it can actually be safe on the politicians that are running.
What would happen is say you didn't pay and they sent you a fine. What happens if you wouldn't pay for it? Yeah.
The government could potentially refuse to renew your driver's license if you didn't pay a fine. Like if you don't pay your parking tickets, the government they'll say you have to pay your tickets before you will renew your license.
Yeah.
So there's other ways that the government can get
Yeah.
Oh my god.
In Belgium, if you don't pay your fine after a month after you don't vote, then you can go to jail.
How did Victor beat them that fast?
We're clapping.
You want to go to jail, Nick?
No.
Nick, you do, right? You said you
No.
want to?
No.
Drop this out.
No.
We're having you.
Are you still enforced to vote in Australia, or is that done? Is it still mandatory to vote in Australia?
Yeah.
And I don't think they're wanting to revisit or change the law on that, so I think it works for them there. Any questions for Aaron? Okay, but not we need to get Aaron a question. Okay. Sorry, we just got to move this slide, so your question for Aaron?
Okay, so the question's for the people who don't vote or choose not to, isn't it better for it to be mandatory? Because then, maybe some of these people don't realize after the election has ended the different benefits or the different drawbacks that come hit them later on, just in their daily lives, because that they voted for they didn't vote for the right party, or they chose not to vote, and then the party they didn't won. So do you think that they should try to be making a difference to vote for what they think is right? They should be educated.
That all depends on if they actually choose to inform themselves. Because, again, as I said, some people just don't care, and some people don't even know that there's elections coming. And it pretty much just goes into if they want to inform themselves.
Thank you. We're going to do all the questions in. We're going to get Simran to come debate me now. And we're debating about the presence of the military in the Arctic.
Oh my god, the lava hump's been so far.
You guys are like, what? We have an Arctic? Watch
The
this?
lava hump's still with me.
So you're in favor of it.
Can you zap that witch?
You're so slouched. Probably one of the tallest.
That's fine.
You are in
Let them take our tower and then we'll 3-crown them.
We're so bigger.
I'll fireball it.
You stand up straight.
Let them take a tower and then farm.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's fine, it's fine.
people.
Okay, they got the tower, they got the tower.
Just don't make yourself taller.
Nice. Okay, no, we're 3-crowning them right now.
Oh my god.
This chair is more comfortable. This debate will look at the Arctic region of Canada and argue that we should have a military presence in the Arctic. Okay? And
What?
Simran is going to be in favor of having the military there, and I'm going to kind of talk about reasons why we potentially should, just based on what I know what Ethan would be arguing if he were here, okay?
What?
So Simran, I'm going to allow you to give your opening statement. You have 3 minutes. Beginning now.
The Arctic sovereignty means much more than just protecting the Arctic land and Canada's claims over it. Many Canadians currently reside in the Arctic. They have made their lives with their families, and it is our job to make sure that the communities have support from the government to survive and are protected with a strong military like the rest of the country. To the many Canadians that live in the north, they know the Arctic as their home. They have built their lives around the resources. It's a place where they raise their children, work, but most importantly, a place they call their home. Therefore, they should have the same privileges of having a strong military like the rest of the country to protect their land. 40% of Canada's landmass is made from the 3 northern territories, 1,000 kilometers of Arctic coastline. Russia is one of the reasons why Canada should have a strong military in the Arctic. Russia has been showing major force over claiming the Arctic land because some parts of the Arctic is believed to hold up to a quarter of the planet's uncovered oil and gas. The Russians first made a claim in 2002 about the oil underneath the surface, but the UN didn't believe them because of the lack of evidence. But after years of research, they found out that there is in fact oil under the surface and the Russians were lying. Russia wants to take the land and make oil wells and fishing fleets, which would completely ruin the Arctic sovereignty. The Russians dropped their flag underwater in 2007 to show their claims over it. Canada needs to build up their army in the Arctic to prepare for Russia in case of a war breaking out between the Americans and Russians. Also, around 100,000 Canadians currently live in the Arctic. By not having a strong, dominant military, we are risking their lives because recently Russia has been showing major signs of aggression. The Russian President Vladimir Putin has shown that Russia has been possessing an arsenal of undetectable nuclear weapons, showing that they are prepared to go into war if none of the countries respect their claims or stop them from retrieving the oil from the Arctic.
Okay. Okay, so when you look at the Arctic itself and the argument of a well, I shouldn't be debating. I shouldn't be debating it yet. Basically, my concerns with the Arctic would be, number one, the environmental impact that developing oil reserves in the Arctic would have. I mean, we're already experiencing global warming, developing polar ice caps, et cetera, and emitting more greenhouse gases in the Arctic region is just going to exceed that process even further. So putting a military presence there and really going after the oil sources in the Arctic is probably not the best environmental thing for us to be doing right now, considering we have oil from so many other sources still, whether it be our offshore drilling, our oil sands in Alberta, or other refineries. So we don't really need to go after that oil yet, and I don't think the Russians need to either, considering they still have oil fields throughout their country. The other point would be just the expenditure of putting the military within the Arctic area. Our military budget is much smaller than what the Russians spend on theirs. So in order to actually put a sizable force in the Arctic would cost us an increase in our military expenditure. The country's already in enough debt. We'd just be adding to it further or charging people more in terms of their tax dollars to fund this project, which at this time really is unnecessary. We're not in a hostile relationship with Russia, so we shouldn't really be too concerned about them. So I mean, that's sort of my take on it. and I'll allow for you to review anything I said. Okay?
The reason why so many people live in the Arctic is because during the Cold War, Canada sent Inuit families to reside in the north to show other countries that they had claims over the Arctic. So my question is, don't these Canadian citizens deserve to be protected like the rest of the country?
And my argument to that would be that they don't face the same threats as the rest of the country. There is no sign that they're in any immediate danger. I mean, if they were in immediate danger, the military, just like they would in Kitchener and Waterloo, we don't have a military here. We have a police force, same as in our remote communities up north. But if we needed to, the military would come to our aid. And the Canadian military would come to the aid of people in the north if they needed it. Doesn't mean they have to be stationed there permanently. 5 months or relatively quickly.